Hi, everyone. A very good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining us for this event today. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Once again, a very good evening to all of you. Good evening from Odin School. I'll just give a very brief introduction of Odin School before we get into the event today. Odin School is an online upskilling platform. We focus on upskilling graduates and working professionals in new age technologies like data sciences and full stack Java. Our boot camps are 6 month long, very aligned to what the industry is looking for. And the ultimate objective of our boot camps is to enable our learners to transition into these new age technologies and find careers in domains like data sciences and full stack. Today we have with us Jyant. Jyant, if I can have you on camera, please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So a lot of, we keep listening a lot of things about data science and data analysts now with the latest chat GPT and artificial intelligence. There are so many things going on. It's probably one of the most happening fields in the tech domain right now. Everybody is excited about it. So this discussion is going to focus on what exactly are the trending technologies, what are the top technologies and trends in data sciences this year. And if I'm not wrong, these technologies are so dynamic, they keep changing probably every 6 months to 1 year. So we'll try and understand what is trending right now, and we will have a lot of discussion around this domain. Jyant is a lead data scientist at Zscaler, and he comes with a lot of experience in this domain. Jyant, I'll leave it to you to introduce yourself. Help us understand more about you, specifically about your work in the data domain.
Great. That's a wonderful introduction. Thank you very much. And first of all, thanks, Odin School, and such a great welcome, Shruti. Really appreciate that. About myself, right? As you mentioned, that I'm working with Zscaler now, right, as a data science lead. So it's been quite a journey for me, right? Starting from the data analysis and more of a data engineering world, and getting used to generating a lot of reports and all, right? It insights generate a lot of interest in someone that if we are surrounded with data, right, why not we start playing with it and generate more stories, or generate kind of applications that impacts or helps other companies or products that can leverage. So something from there I started, and eventually worked on various models with respect to chatbots, image attributions, and language models, right, and pricing models and all those. So these things really insights me, and that brought me here where I am right now, to the point where I can also start delivering those concepts from starting from scratch and to delivering those points, right? So it's very great opportunity to portray one story and help others also, if that can be helpful to anyone that they want to start on, and they also want to pursue these kinds of courses and contribute in the world of AI. As you mentioned, right, it's so dynamic that more or like, I also feel like, earlier doctors, we used to say that they have to keep on learning new things every now and then, right? It's not a stagnant field anymore, but it implies same to IT, and specifically data science. It's like every 3 months you get something new, and I know that we have to keep up, learn those things, and maintain the productive production environment like that. So yeah, it will be great. I think this is a great pipeline that we have tried to design. Let's have great conversations on that, and let's see where we go with this.
Great. So when you started out your journey a few years ago, and now, of course, we all talk about data, we talk about artificial intelligence and analytics, and a lot of businesses are also investing into analytics. Almost every business is investing into analytics, building out their own analytics teams and all that. But when you started out, probably it was not that big a name, it was still at very nascent stages. So what excited you at that point of time to get into this domain?
Okay, I think that's a very amazing question with respect to the moment you say, right, everyone is investing. Like the moment you open Fortune 500 company, any startup, simple, funny way, if I tell you, just open and go to the career page and you will find data analyst, business analyst, data science roles. It was not like this a few years ago. That's completely true, right? But every other company is investing in it. And back in the time, there were people who were taking more generic terms like, data person or maybe AI or ML person. Now the designations have been spread across business analyst, data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, machine learning, AI engineer, and all those things. And new terms are coming up, ML ops and all this. We'll talk about it. For me, as I mentioned, was already being part, I think everyone is surrounded with data, right? No matter which technology you work, let's say you are working in a support, you are managing a lot of incidents and all those things. So that is kind of a data, right? You are in customer facing environment. You support customer service. You are collecting a lot of data. And it's not only for IT people, look at doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants, everyone is surrounded with data. Right?
Right.
So if there are the tools which can leverage or convert these things into more useful insights or stories that you can portray more easily to someone, and that helps them to understand. And so that is something that excites me, and this is where I started working on it, to rather using these stories to build products that can deliver these kinds of stories. So I think that was a big turnaround moment for me.
Yeah, I think data science is one domain that kind of cuts across different industries, different domains, right? It is not just for the IT, even manufacturing sector and pharmaceutical sector, all of them are big into data sciences these days. That kind of opens up so many opportunities also. We will talk about that in a few minutes. But since you mentioned the different job roles that exist within this domain, right? But still there's a lot of confusion among people What is the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist? Are they very different? Is it very different? Is there a difference in terms of the skill sets that both these job roles require? Could you help us understand that better?
So, this question brings a lot of heat whenever it is being discussed because people like to portray or give definitions to it, right? But I believe, from my personal experience, I would say these two things go hand in hand, right? Without a proper data science or data analyst skill, to be, precise first, there will be a lot of difficulties a data science person might feel. And without a data science modeling technique, a lot of things can, the potential that data analyst has generated will be dropped. So I think those both go hand in hand. But still, the distinction between them on the job part would be a data science analyst person is someone who has more in terms of, storytelling skills. Basically, if I give you a bunch of feedbacks, reviews, dump of data collection, right? Students who are interacting with this session or, their behavior and what they are doing and searching online. So to find some insights about it, generating dashboards, right? Solving business problems, understanding business needs, understanding the rapid growth in the technology and capturing that and, generating stories and thoughtful questions and answers about it. I think those are the more key skills or more the demanding skills a data analyst should possess. Skills with respect to that could be dashboarding, any skill, right? SQLs, dashboarding skills like Tableau, Power BI. On the other hand, when someone talks about data science, that's a very big generic term these days, right? Because we have like further subdivided these terms into various parts. But when I talk about data scientist as a person who brings the data to and life, right? What I mean by into life, let's say you have collected a lot of data with respect to students' feedback. Now you're generating insight whether they are liking something, they want to pursue something, right? Their dreams and aspirations are there. Accordingly, you have developed the entire course, right? So you want to optimize that course for them, right? So that feedback is there. Okay, now you know the questions, you know the answers, but what next? So data science can help you build models to do those predictions, right? Maybe more, just to keep the example going, right? I can give you an example, but just keep this example going. Maybe, more quizzes, more interactive sessions with the learner. So those kind of predictions, like something which has not done in the past, but observing the historical data and I'm building a machine learning model on top of that data that will give me predictions for the future. It's something that I can do on this data set. Right? So that is some, is a key skill of a data science person to predict something or group something on logical mathematical way, or even taking it further to let machine think like a human, basically our AI models, right? To think like a human and they are delivering products. So I think that will be a good distinction between analyst and a science person.
Great. I think that gives us a lot of clarity. So what about technologies like ChatGPT? And what role does the data science and analytics play in enabling these technologies or helping develop these technologies?
So definitely, there's the buzzword ChatGPT. You cannot go by without it. Right? Everyone is using it. It's like people from tech, non-tech, any background, everyone knows about it. Everybody is leveraging that tool right now for free, for paid, using that and making applications and n number of applications like from media people to law and IT people generating software codes. So yeah, definitely this thing has revolutionized the way a lot of jobs were scheduled earlier, right? A lot of things that we used to do earlier, speed up has done like a lot of things has been processed as speed up now. Things are doing really fast. If I am stuck somewhere, I can take access to the enormous data that is available in online websites were there. Now I don't have to go and search for those things. Products like ChatGPT and others, which are there already in the market, right? They are like helping us do that. Right? These tools become famous because of the brands and all. But the one thing that we have to keep in mind that these things are definitely revolutionizing, but it is not that they were just all of a sudden came up and we started feeling like these things were like we are feeling shocked, like something new has come. These were there, but their smaller versions were there, right? Like your auto completion in your text keyboard when you were writing a message on email. These tools were already there. Chatbots were already there. You open any website, Domino's and all, you were placing orders. So those things were already there. It's just these people have taken it to a next step to make it more refined, give you the exact answers, solutions. You want to write a poem. So now they have expanded their domain, basically, right? Earlier, it used to be used by specific people or specific tool person who has experience, but now anyone can access. Like, let's say, I want to, start writing poems and books from today. So I can start using ChatGPT and other tools which are help me write a poem, help me write a book, help me write a story. So they will start giving me base and I can do. So now they are expanded their use cases to everyone. So definitely these are trending, and to keep oneself up to date, there are various paths we can opt for. Either we can use them as an application and build products, or know how to build these products like ChatGPT and explore. So something we can discuss more in later questions.
Okay. Now, coming to the discussion, the focus discussion of today.
Yeah.
You have had, all the years that you have been, and the kind of work you're doing today. What are the 5 top trends that you think are ruining the data science domain in 2023?
That's an interesting one, right? That's an interesting question. To summarize, it will be very difficult, right? There are a lot of things that has all of a sudden taken us to windward, and we are in a storm right now, and everybody is trying to learn new things, develop out of skill. But again, like quite generic answer, if I say, right, something that we should keep in mind, or more from a technological advancement point of view, where potential can be there, and more like one from a moral point of view also, right? When AI comes to picture. So keeping those things in mind, I think the key things basically, if I try to summarize them on the 5 points, it could be something of more explainable point of view, right? New buzzword is coming out called explainable AI, right? So basically what it means that whatever I'm doing as an AI, right? If I'm writing a model that helps you decide whether this program or this particular scheme, whether it's McDonald's or any Domino's, any brand, they come up with the promotion scheme, whether it's going to be success or not, right? So I'm building a machine learning model and it's telling me, okay, this is the percentage I'm confident. So my stakeholders will want to know how this model is working, right? Okay, you gave me a probability, and in past your models for predictions are really good, so I have full faith in it. But I'm not able to come up to the level. So more like an explainable AI is coming into this world right now, where your model should be able to explain others, right? So this is a keyword buzzword, sorry, which everyone should be start developing their skill from. Other than that, as we know that products like ChatGPT and all are in the market, so more often, automated modeling techniques should come into picture. Basically, what I mean by that, auto ML kind of a things, where people don't have to invest more on the technical part, but more focus can be done on the product they are delivering, right? So there are libraries and tools available which can do a lot of mundane tasks or repetitive tasks for you, right? So those things or those skills and libraries are trending these days, which are helping people with less technical skills or even no technical skills to start leveraging these powerful tools, right? Other than that, I think we have already seen, a lot of shows, startup shows are coming into these days and trending, and you might have observed people are coming with various tools and gadgets, right? So what are these gadgets basically that capture your meter readings and your how your blood pressure, your sugar level? All are these, basically IoT devices, right? Like Alexa and Google Home. You are at any part of the world and you can control these devices from anywhere. So a good combination of IoT and AI, basically, like when basically your edge computing, like devices, edge devices, like using that and leveraging AI, like intelligently thinking, those hardware, like from the product point of view, also AI is booming, right? And coming to the entertainment part, right? If you are right now, we are all talking about academics and different domains, but coming to the most interesting and the those lucid that domain that we have is called the entertainment, right? Basically your gaming, your video animations, so they are being revolutionized. We all know that we have VR sets, right? Augmented reality is gonna be, it's already there with among us, right? It's not something that is a talk of a future now. Maybe last year or 2 years back, people would have said, okay, this is something will come in the future. But augmented analytics, like that could be my fourth point, that says that is currently revolutionizing AI, and that will take up, or will generate a lot of jobs also for people who have possess skills in creative thinking and analytical skills, and can model these products and write codes and do all those kind of things. And finally, this is something that I just want to add on top of these 4 technical skills that I've talked about, that you should possess these skills or any one of these skills. This is more like an, additional tool, or basically additional skill everyone should possess, called more like, how do I say, like more like responsibility towards what you are doing. Because as you can see, as the AI and ML is trending, right, there are a lot of people are in favor, and you can see a lot of heated discussions who are against this, the idea behind it, right? A lot of people, still go against the idea behind autonomous cars, right? So there are always 2 sides of a coin. So to keep that into balance, I think, and more like what you used to say these words for hacking, right? Ethical hacking. So same words can be used for like more like a responsible AI or ethical AI use of AI, which should be grounded, moral, right? Should not hurt anybody's sentiments and all those things. Should that should be also a part of your thought process when you are looking for a job change, or you are developing your skills, or you are using or leveraging these kinds of skills, sorry, or tools. So that is something, I just want to add. This will be the fifth key trending thing that is right now people have started focusing, companies have started investing on that part also, that there will be a responsible team which will manage what we are doing is, that should be publicly acceptable or not. Because the potential any product or any technology has, it's like sky's the limit, right? But we should know where to draw the boundary. So I think these will be, the summarized points that I would like to portray on this topic.
Great. I think the last point that you mentioned, there has been so much discussion about that particular thing in the recent times with the head of AI, with Google also resigning, and there was a lot of talk about it. A lot of talks about policies and regulations coming in for responsible use of AI. I think AI by nature is a double-edged sword, and it's up to us to ensure that it is used in the right way. So you spoke about explainable AI, auto ML, and then there was IoT, and the fourth one was
augmented or VR
augmented reality, and then responsible use of AI. Great. Now, for somebody who wants to start a career in data analytics, right, with probably having aspirations of getting into ML and AI and all going forward, how can somebody start out like that? Let us consider the use case of a fresher just out of college with basic IT skills. What are the skills that he's got to upskill himself or herself on to start off in this field?
That's a very kind of questions that I had when I was starting. These questions really help someone formulate their journey going forward. Right, like in my personal experience, what I believe was these answers will be changing very dynamically. Every 3 months, my answer will change for this same question. Right. So currently, I would say the state of data science is at what level is that everyone wants to be job ready, or like your product needs to be useful. Right. So make your product useful. Those days are gone where you will say that I will master this one particular skill, and I'll be responsible for that thing, and all the steps that come behind and after that, that is not my role. Right? So that kind of an thinking has been, we are seeing that it's becoming obsolete these days. More often full stack kind of a environment is there in almost every. But that doesn't mean people get confused that when we say full stack, then we mean that you should know everything. Right? That's not true. Like full stack means like you know how to a journey start from A to Z, right? You don't have to master A to Z. You can master the particular skills you are interested in, and you will be expertise in that. But you should have fair amount of knowledge about all the steps that are involved in pipeline. So to get started, right, you should not be stressing about the plethora of information available. Start small, take small steps, and eventually you will reach the goal that you are desiring. So for that, I would say we can split that into 3 parts, right? Something to play with data, to understand your data. Your SQL should be very good fundamentally, so that you can talk business. You can get sense out of your data, you can formulate the structure of the data. And basically SQL means like you can formulate data. If you don't have unstructured data, you can replace that with a dashboarding tool, and just to know your data. Second, any programming skill that can leverage or start practicing your ML world, most probably Python. Just to start with, it's easy to incorporate and learn and leverage. Definitely, once you master, there are more potential uses and more languages that you can use to, with respect to, a lot of people ask question, why Python when there are programming languages with better processing power and output throughput. Yeah, definitely. But to start somewhere, it's very good programming language, a lot of tools and libraries available, open source. Everyone is investing in that. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on researching, right? You'll be ready to deploy the code. And finally, I would say, I would have not said this maybe 2 years back, but today, a cloud skill would definitely add a great punch to your resume, right? From a job perspective, or even if you are, your own entrepreneur and you have your own company. So people with cloud knowledge, definitely gonna be getting a big push in the market because everything is going on cloud. Those days are gone where you used to have servers and networks and at your local, right? Nothing like that. If someone has an idea, they can start deploying their AI-based chatbots, machine learning models, websites, in a days of time with the help of tools like the cloud services like AWS, GCP, Google, and Microsoft Azure, right? They can just start delivering those products and reach mass audience and
Right.
overnight, right? So I think these three skills, if you possess, even at a base level, right? Any query language, Python language from basics, and any cloud language where you can interact. If you possess these three things on the base level, you can, like, in a week, you can start developing your own products. So that would be
Right.
great. Yeah.
So as part of our work at Odin School, right, we interact with a lot of industries, a lot of companies to get insights about what they're looking for. So there is one term that very frequently keeps coming up in the discussion, which, the talent acquisition people or even the line managers of different companies say, we need people who have a sense of data, a data sense, somebody who's able to make sense of data. So coming from you, a lead data scientist, what does that actually mean when somebody says you should have data sense? What does that mean?
So, that's a very, very interesting question, because it goes in two directions. I'll try to portray my thoughts on this. Like, two directions in sense. One is majorly what people mean when they say data sense is that, this is the first thing we learn when we start learning computers and back in school, like garbage in, garbage out. That's a very
Right.
simple rule, and everyone knows that, right? Even if people are not from tech, they know that. So people who say data sense means they are coming from this background. They know that if you have garbage, no matter which high quality model or something you build, they will not be deliverable, right?
Right.
The output will be garbage. So they want you to understand your data, understand your business. If I'm hiring someone for a supply chain business, so that person should speak the language of supply chain. They know the in and out of the supply chain. They understand what is the data sources, what kind of anomalies the data can have. So that kind of mind thinking there. If I'm collecting feedback, right? A very controversial statement, I could say that generally people give feedback when they find something wrong with the product. Most of the time, if you like something, you don't end up giving a feedback, right? Majority of it. So
You're right.
these kinds of biases, if someone has, proactively thinking about the domain that is hiring, it's people are coming from that they have the data sense. If I'm hiring for a retail person, does the person know what retail is? What are the language terms, jargons used in retail? He has idea about that data. That is what is coming. Now, second, which is trending and something which will become very common soon, is data. When these tech people are saying, they are coming from the environment where you have three different terms right now trending, which is basically your ML ops, data ops, and AI ops, right? So that data ops, right, that is something which they are coming at more from the tech people, right? Not management people, from tech people, in the sense that just give me a minute. I'm really sorry. There's some issues. Okay. I think I have a network issue. Am I bad? Yeah. What I was trying to say is that with respect to the data part, right? So data ops means like something which, the quality of data, your source of your data, where it's originating, how I'm pre-processing the data, the rules and regulations that I've set for understanding this data, where I'm keeping the data, whether after every iteration the model is updating, and whether I'm updating my data and maintaining the logs or not, right? Those kinds of things. So that is from the technical point of view, but yes, so this could be the two answers of this data sense kind of a question.
Right. And how important is mathematics and statistics in this entire field?
So that's again, that's a very question that is specific to a person's interest, right? Someone, if like me, if I say I might give you a biased answer that it's very important because I love mathematics, right? And yes, definitely, it's something that will definitely add an edge on to you, because why I said there are 2 points of looking at it. It's like people who wants to build products like ChatGPT, right? And then there are people I said who wants to leverage products like ChatGPT. Like, so for people who want to leverage the product like that, to them, you do know the basics of math more than enough. You don't need to get into nitty and gritty of the mathematics, right? Because you want to leverage a AI product that company has given you, and you are building your own product on top of it. Let's say you are an artist, right? You want to paint and all those things. So you need a platform that can automatically get your feedback, analyze the feedback, get the sentiments, and all those things. You're not interested in the maths behind it. On the other hand, there are people who want, like someone like me who is part of a team that building a product like ChatGPT or something like that. So we need to understand the math behind it, definitely, because in future, as we are transitioning into AI, right, we are reaching a threshold where our hardware and software going to restrict, and then there already research started in the quantum theory phase, right, where people are starting more competition in less time, right? In advanced computing, how we can do that? Because we have reached a threshold. Models like ChatGPT they're already using a lot of space and time competition at a time, right? So for that level of intelligence, if your goal is to achieve that level, right? Definitely maths will play a big role. So you need to understand the basics or even the advanced mathematics so that you can be part of that. So first set your goal, what you want, and accordingly decide.
Right. That another very common question, but interesting at the same time. Now, since you mentioned, there are probably data science as a domain gives a lot of flexibility, because whether you know math or you're not interested in math, there is space for kind of different kind of skills within this domain, right?
Correct.
Would you agree that for somebody who wants to transition into a new age tech, like data analytics or data science, coming from a non-IT background, probably they were working in manufacturing or banking and finance sector, or probably somebody who's done their MBA and not from computer science background, for them to transition into these domains, would data science be a good place for them to come?
Yeah, the answer is very simple, right? It's yes. Why is that? Even if you don't come from a technical background or a strong mathematical background, you can still, as I mentioned, right, the tools are there for your help, right, for your assistance. It's just your thought process needs to be streamlined, right? So that kind of mold, when you say, right, it can be given any shape. You have the potential, but we don't realize it, right? And like I don't generally talk about IT people because I think those people already know the importance of data science, right? So there's no much point in influencing them because they know its importance and they're already on it. It's for the folks who are not, right? Basically, people from the commerce, as I mentioned, lawyers, and everybody can use this tool. Doctors are investing a lot in this, all these prediction models that can, identify disease, not only identify, locate where it is and put that. So if they can understand and talk the language, how easy it will be from a domain expert and a data science world, right? So earlier, if I am interacting with a doctor to build a product that can help them identify or read the MRI, right? It's a very complicated thing. So my model needs as much information as possible. So if I don't speak the language of medical, right, and the doctors don't speak the language of data science, so there will be a big gap, right?
Correct.
But who will be more advantaged at this stage? Doctor will have better advantage if he, learns some basics or understand the language or, some quick reference kind of a course to understand it. So that bridge will be built, right? So now they can speak the language of an AI model, and the tools are available, the cloud service are available, they can build their own models. So that will save a lot of time, right? So that is something I would say that, is anyone can transition, and definitely people should have seen, even if they're not looking for an income, want to be a data scientist, but for themselves to increase the efficiency and the output of that they are doing, right? Even if they are, as I mentioned, support environment, customer facing, doctors or anyone, they can also leverage these tools and practices.
Right. Now that you mentioned, doctors and lawyers, all these people need to have a basic understanding. Do you think it's time that at least the mid-level management people of different companies, whichever is a domain, start learning at least the basics of data science? Because I think most of the processes are getting aligned towards that. Should that be one of the skills that at least mid-level managers should have in different companies? Just a basic sense of data analytics and how do you read data and understand data so they can, might not be their core competence, but definitely an added skill that can help them make better decisions.
Got it. So that's a insightful thinking. Basically, we are talking about, like, if you're taking a decision, like if you have backed up with the data or something more insights and research that you have done. Earlier, people used to take decisions on the gut based or their experience based. Right now, young people are coming up with more confidence building using these tools and coming up with more innovative ideas. Right. So I think that it's like more or very high time for people who are at a mid level or especially at a higher level to, unless and until I'm not saying it's kind of a race that they should be, part of and start running, is that to bridge that gap right before, all of a transition happens and they feel like they are not in touch with the kind of communication is happening in every meeting and they are not being able to correlate with what people are saying, right? If someone fresher joins in and they start talking and giving ideas with respect to what they can do and potential, and I think if they don't have a better leader or someone who talks about these terms, or at least have basic idea about what are the potential, like they will not be able to shape those people, right, and let them explore and help them or guide them or provide them resources that they can build a very unique product, because the resource has potential but you don't know the the details about what I can do with that resource, right? It's like I'm giving you a very powerful machine, but you're still, using stones and all to generate fire. So it's of no use, right? So to bridge that gap, I think it will be great to at least get on board and start talking that language.
Right. We have a couple of interesting questions from the viewers. Probably I'll ask at this point of time because they're in line with what we are discussing right now.
Perfect.
So one question is are SQL and Excel enough to get into a data analyst role? Or are coding skills like Python and R mandatory? If we learn programming, how does it impact the jobs? If I'm finding it difficult, can I just learn advanced Excel and SQL and start off somewhere in the data analyst as a data analyst?
So that's a very, quite all the points covered in one question. That's a very thoughtful question, I think. I think that, the crux of that would be is to know what I have, knowledge that I have right now, and what should be I aspiring to learn the next, right? Just to, summarize that question. Right? So I will not going into too much of the, different technologies, but I would say, right, I will stick to the statement that I said earlier, right? When it's with respect to the current demand, if you're looking for a more, versatile job offer or role that is very challenging and demanding, right? So your fundamental skills, as I not want to take a technological name because I want to generalize generic it, that something to that you can read the data, right? That can be your Excel. That's absolutely right, because Excel people, don't use that as much of a power, but those who know its potential, they have generated or amazing charts and stories out of it, and even portrays those to the live domain and client side. Those kinds of things can be done using Excel. So definitely Excel can be a great tool to understand your data, right? When it comes to understanding your data, SQL, Excel, or any kind of a dashboard is more than suffice. Right? And when it comes to programming language, R in itself is amazing tool if you are in a more statistical environment where companies are dealing with numbers and finance and all. R is an amazing tool. It is designed for the statistics people to study statistics, to play around with numbers. It has libraries which will help you excel or deliver faster results, right? So again, that's why I said when I said Python, that's not the only answer. I said that there are multiple options, right? So any programming, if you have R skills, you can definitely start polishing your R skills onward. And when it comes to the deployment phase, right? Why I'm saying that, because now it's like if I have an idea, right, and I want to portray that, then people expect me to show a demo, and that way I can connect with my clients, right? It's easier to get that onboarding. Applications like Streamlit is there, right? And any cloud service, they generally give you free trials also. And with nominal amount, if you are serious with your own product or something like that, you have your own company, and you can pay a nominal amount, and the product or the insights that you have generated, you can build a product that can show you as a dummy website or a chatbot kind of a thing, which you can showcase your talent, right? Showcase your product to the folks. And so I think these three skills. And then again, it's not that you need those skills right now, right? After this call, you start Googling how to master these skills. Take your time, start learning one thing at a time, right? But keep in mind, this will be a good starting point if you look at from these three perspectives, rather than focusing on just one skill at a time. Right.
Right. Great. Yeah. The next question is more job related. Currently, he says he is a MIS analyst.
Okay.
So if he wants to transition into a data analyst or going forward as a data scientist, will this experience of being an MIS analyst help him, or will it be considered in the recruitment processes?
I would say, this is definitely a big add-on because, as I said, right, no matter which technology or which domain you are surrounded with data. Right? And if you have a thought process which inclines your storytelling skills that says, okay, you know what, I was part of this team where we used to generate a lot of reports. Let's take this example, right? I used to generate a lot of reports. So I thought, we were doing some task on a repetitive basis. So someone in my team did an automation, and we tried to, curve the repeating steps and started generating the insights more in concise fashion and all those things. So all these things are not, unless and until I'm using a word data analyst here, that doesn't mean you don't have those skills. You're doing the same thing what data analysts do, right? It's just you are using a different term. So you're already in the game. You are already surrounded with that environment, right? Because this is like the best scenario to shift towards a more data analyst skill, because the example that we talked about doctors, right? So now if 5 years ago you would have said to a doctor, like, you want to learn something called AI, they would say, what's the point of me learning an AI skill, right? So even those people, if they have realized that what they can deliver with AI, now imagine all the people who are already in the IT world, they're automatically, they're more inclined towards the data analyst skills, and your experience will definitely count because you know how to handle all these things, right? So gradual uplearning for you would be a great, to master data analysis skills and eventually start using those data analysis output, sorry, and start building models on top of it. So I think that will be really helpful for you.
Great. So, Jayant, we have discussed the difference between data analyst and data science. We have discussed the trends that are, current in data science domain. We have also spoken about what are the skills that a person needs to have to start off with in this domain or transition into this domain. Now, how does a person actually learn these skills? How does one acquire these skills? Because these are not something that you can read and understand and develop.
Right.
So what do you think should be a learning path or something that a person can, plan, say, over 3 months or 6 month period? What is the best practices to learn these technologies?
I think that's a really very helpful question. Even people who have not thought of it, they will definitely wonder about it after the session, or, even naturally people, this question comes in, okay, I know I'm all fired up. I want to do this. I have the potential. Now what? The next step.
Yes.
So I would say, the skills are there, or the resources are there online. I have no question denying it, right? Every day we also, when I'm trying to solve any problem in office, I have to try to Google, okay, or now there's ChatGPT, people use that, what I can do to solve this problem. Definitely resources are there. But the problem is the more resources you have on your plate, right, the more confusing it becomes to pick what thing at a time and start using it. Because let's say you went out with your friends and everybody's talking about NLP related products, right? Basically, you catching the words, phrases, and getting meanings out of it. So you start learning NLP, and tomorrow you see a very amazing AI filter on Instagram or Snapchat, right? And you started generating interest toward computer vision products, right? I'll also build it. So your mind will be wandering here and there. So I would say a structured path will definitely be a big help, right? No matter which stage you are, definitely you can, create accordingly. You can opt for a more structured path course, enroll yourself in something which have people who have worked on these environments. They have working experience in the industry, because people who are transiting, right, their biggest drawbacks or something that I faced when I was training, because they don't have the industry experience, right? They have the domain knowledge, they have learned the skill. But if someone asks you, what will you do in this scenario, right? So then at that time, bookish answer or something like that will not be helpful. So to get that information from an industrial expert, right, would be a great add-on. So follow structured path, get yourself enrolled in something, right? We start learning in that pattern, strictly follow the assignments or submissions, and interact with the, your colleagues and your fellow mates. Because generating license in this environment is really helpful, right? Maybe someone comes with a great idea and you can collaborate and build new products, meet with new people, join data science groups and communities, start following pages where they're discussing on LinkedIn and all about data science, right? Organization that helps give you tips and tools. So I think that would give you a better option to learn these skills rather than just wondering and typing on Google. I want to learn how to build chatbot today, and next day you are learning price model, and next day. So that will help you gain more experience in that product, but still you will be wondering whether I'm ready or not. Right? Yes. But on the other hand, if you follow a path starting with the baby steps to an advance, that will give you more confidence, right? Because it's not only by acquiring skill, it's more acquiring confidence, like inner confidence.
Right. Yeah. Right. So what is a company? You're from Zscaler, right? Before that, also you worked in different other companies. What does a company look for when they want to hire a person for a data analyst or a data science role? From the talent acquisition point of view, from the line manager point of view, what are the 3 to 5 things that they look for?
So this is really, what's fascinating is that the role, as when I am also being part of a lot of recruitment process, and I've given a lot of interviews also, got rejected, selected, part and parcel of life, right? But what I understood, the crux out of this was mostly people, look for your interest, basically, like in simple terms, like whether you have the ability and you're shown interest and, you want to actually learn this thing, and you will want to work on this with your all heart, right? Because I've seen in interviews sometimes what happened, because a lot of pressure, you're thinking additional things, right? Even though you know something, you don't able to answer it. But the thought process can be judged, right? Whether you are going in the right direction or not, even if you know the syntax or not. But when talking specifically about data science, right? The key skills that someone looks into is, like, as I mentioned, right? Your programming skills definitely comes into picture if you're looking for a more product-based company, right? even service-based companies, they also are demanding, but generally with respect to product-based companies, they are building a product, as I mentioned, right? So now you have decided you want to build a product rather than use that product, right? So now you have already make a decision, so you have to start thinking that end. So if you are looking for a role like that, definitely you need a skills that aligns with your goal, right? So that means your programming skills should be standardized enough to tackle any problem. Right? You don't have to be expert. You definitely get the help of online portals and all those things, but you should be having a logical mind, right? So more like a logical and analytical thinking definitely will give you a push. Basic understanding of any programming language that you have mastered, any programming language, right? Python, R, Java, anything. That will be a great help. Data science, that question that you brought, right? I think that comes right now perfectly fit, right? They will be testing you in the manager round about your knowledge about the product which you are in getting enrolled for, right? If I have worked in the banking domain and applied in a different banking product-based company, so that's an add-on because they know this guy or this person has idea about all the jargons in the system, right? He already knows how to. So it's not day one for the person, right? It's like he's already on the journey and he is jumping, hopping on our ship, right? So we don't have to go back and train him again. So those skills will be definitely, so business terms, domain understanding, research about the company which you're applying, see what they do, right, what they are delivering, then align yourself and, ask yourself questions. What would you have asked the person in that perspective? Because a retail person will not ask you medical related questions, right? And a medical company who are building IoT products that leverage AI will not be asking you questions with respect to your banking details, right? So practice those things, right? Because we only think about data science, like, machine learning, they'll ask, but now other things are also there, 3, 4 rounds. They will be testing you from a holistic perspective, right? So technically, any programming language, your logical and analytical skills, and business-wise, what knowledge you possess, or, at least you have done some research about the company. So that will be a great help.
Right. What about, especially in the Indian context, I think this question makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of pressure on us to learn and speak English. Through college, we speak about communication skills, communication. I mean, that in itself is $1 billion industry.
Okay.
Training communication skills. So for these kind of technical roles, say somebody wants to become a data engineer, right? Or of course, storytelling is a part of data science and data analysis. But then how important is English for this career?
That's a very tricky question. I'll try to answer it. See, it's not about the language, right? For me, I'll be very honest. I've taken interviews of person who was not very feeling comfortable in English, and I'll ask them, can you speak in the local language? Let's do that. Still recruited them, end up recruiting them, right? But I'm not saying that this is practice that everyone does and it is the standard norm that is acceptable in the industry. We should look at from an angle, what we are trying to do, and then reverse engineer to whether we need English or your communication skills should be good or bad. Right? I think if you possess a storytelling skill in any language, right? Basically, storytelling skill is not something that just comes with the language constraint. Right? It is your skill. I can explain someone a similar way in language 1 or language 2. That is my art, right? So English is just another language that you have to learn. Because, as I said, let's start with the end goal, right? So you are applied to a company who has all their clients in US or Europe, right? So you are in an environment building a product that your target audience is the Western countries like Europe and US, right? So now to interact, definitely if you are building a product, you need to interact with them, right? And if I want to pursue them to add this feature on the tool or upskill their product, buy an add-on from me that will help them ease their business or increase revenue, I should be able to communicate with them, right? So from there, let's trace back and then let's say why the language is important. But again, I would say, don't confuse that only if your English is good, then only your storytelling will be great. No, your first thing is your storytelling can be great in your local language also, right? People possess this skill, but they don't realize, right? Jokingly saying, you might be interacting with your friends every day and you tell them a same simple thing in a very funny way to your friends. That is basically storytelling, your art of telling, right? You are making them happy also, and you're telling them something happened and they remember that forever in your local language. So you already possess that skill. I would be love to hire that person and see whether he wants to learn, because English is not the only concern. What if my product is in Germany? Then I need people who can speak German so that I can have better market penetration in that country. I can have more revenue because I want to sell my product more. What if my product is deployed in China tomorrow, right? So if thinking from the business mind, it is in, I would always suggest whichever state, country you go, try to get used to the basic local language, slangs, understand their culture, and speak the language. It will not help them, it helps you to have a better life. So same thing, your better product delivery, you'll be having more sales. So first storytelling skill, and then you can learn any language that you want. Right? Yes, right now English is a skill that because of the client, as I said, right? They do a reverse engineering. Your target audience is English, then how can we say that, oh, if someone is saying that is not important? That is kind of a controversial statement.
Right. I think it depends on the job role also. If it is
Correct.
more of a client-facing role, or if it's more the kind of role that needs you to interact with, then definitely English.
Correct.
Again, it's not about very high quality, high vocabulary English. It is about simple being able to articulate what is there in your mind and being able to understand. I think comprehension is more important.
True.
Being able to comprehend what they're saying. But yeah, if it's a role that doesn't require a lot of client interaction, if it's more of an internal team, then
exactly. No, you don't need this. Yeah, I mean, that this could never be a barrier. That's what I said, right? I would love to hire those person, but it will never be a barrier. It's just an add-on that will help you only, but it will not be a barrier to what you want to achieve in life.
Right. So this question was because we are getting a lot of questions on those lines, saying that my English is not too good. Can I become a data analyst? So I think that was very nicely answered. Thanks. We have another question. So in the recruitment process, if you've been part of recruitment, not as an interviewee, but as an interviewer, how important is the aptitude part of it? When we say aptitude, a lot of companies have these quantitative aptitude, logic and reasoning, the kind of questions that are used in a lot of competitive exams. Okay. So is it necessary for an aspirant to also prepare that part of it? Or if he has a good skill of, logic and aptitude, is that enough?
See, the answer again lies to what you're applying for, right? If I say you want to apply for a big brand, like say Alphabet, Apple, and like, so we all know the interview process is so, like they drill you properly down. They want to explore every angle out of it. So why do companies do, and all the other companies also do this, and they definitely ask these point-based questions, right? Because the problem, they already have it on their plate, right? They have fixed them, or there are people on the company who are fixing it, right? So they know how to fix that, and that is being documented. What they're hiring you for is something new that can come in the future, right? So there has to be a way one or way two to identify you have those skills to encounter something you have never seen, right? Basically, how you face that problem, right? Your instancing, proactive thinking at that time. What are the thoughts, initial thoughts that comes to mind? The moment you face something that has never been, are you, giving up on that easily? Because no one is looking for the right answer. Trust me, I'm being on the other side. I know I was never looking for the right answer. I just want to see the thought process, because these questions test you. They are introduced in a way because they want you to see that something new comes in. How will you tackle it, right? You have everything, but what if you have an habit of giving up? That's something nobody wants, and I encourage people to never do that, right? Try to think about it, cross question, ask more questions about that question. If you don't understand, try to narrow it down, drill it down, as many thought processes, 5 things comes to your mind, jot it down, explain them, walk them through those 5 things. It doesn't matter if it's answer right or wrong. I've seen people giving wrong answer 3 out of 3 getting recruited because the thought process was so good that that conversation went in a different direction altogether. Right. Because they have really innovative way of thinking or taking the problems. Their cross questioning is good. Sometimes people, I ask a question, they don't do a cross question. They start assuming things in their mind and they start working on the problem. Never do that. Ask questions to your panel. Do you mean this? Can I use this variable and all those things? Even if you don't solve it, it's okay. That is not the goal of examination. The goal is to see your whether you have interest or not, or you are just for the sake you are doing this activity.
Right. I think what you said also corroborates with a lot of input that we get from the industry also. Because almost every company has a training period.
Correct. Exactly.
Has that period where they induct and they orient, and that period goes on so that they can teach them the technology.
True.
But this mindset and thought process is something that cannot be taught. Yes. And rather, a company wouldn't want to invest into developing that kind of mindset. They want people who come with that mindset, and then it is very easy for them to train them.
Correct.
They should be trainable. I think that's nicely put. So we are a few minutes away from ending. So what are your last thoughts or words of wisdom for somebody who's aspiring to get into the data science field?
I think if you are attending this, or you're thinking of data science, I think you're already on the right path. Not because I'm already in this field, but to portray in this way that this is more like gonna become an additional skill that everyone possesses, right? Because earlier when you used to apply, people say, okay, you have presentation skills, you have soft skills, and all those skills, right? They were not primary skills, but they were just very important. So I think data analysis, data science, or at least talking the language of data science is going to be a secondary skill that in coming times for everyone. So if you're starting early and you're already in this thought process, this will give you a very good jump into that domain, right? So it's great to follow people who have done these things or who have mastered these things, who are doing great jobs in this field, because it's like smarter or wiser to learn from people's mistake also, because now the learning has been so fast and dynamic that you cannot leverage, or you don't have the enough time and resources to do a lot of mistakes. Like, you can definitely do your own mistakes and learn, but learn from others also. So attend all these sessions, join these forums, clubs, or follow the articles, right? Start following a structured path of learning these skills. Start practicing, right? Or use GitHub. There are a lot of repositories. People are adding their codes over there. You start also doing it, right? Communities where people discuss about these forums, research papers where people discuss about. Start following them, right? Follow a course structure where you can learn these skills step by step and start implementing it. If you are failing, start asking questions. Can connect to me or someone else, or you follow someone very famous who are working in big companies. Drop them a message, even if they don't reply. It's okay. What if they reply and get a very knowledgeable resource from there, or they help them? It's about that, right? Be open to learning things. Be ready to learn new things, right? It's okay. Sometimes you will get disappointed, but yeah, but don't stop, but keep pushing yourself. I think that's all.
And one more thing is, once they get a lot of people, once they get a job, they think their goal is met. But I think that's just the start of the journey.
Correct. As I started, I said that earlier we used to say doctors and lawyers used to update themselves every now and then. So if you're thinking that you got a job and now you can sit that you are, in a big fantasy world, because every month, every 15 days, as something new comes in, and I have to read an article about it and to understand and incorporate if I can do that in my job, right? So I think that days are gone. So you have to be on your toes every day, right? So it's not something to be taken as an hectic part. Start enjoying it, right? Rather than looking at it from a point of view whether it's an additional thing you're doing. Stop looking from that angle and enjoy this thing, because if you are in this field, that means you really like this thing. Don't do it for the sake of the money or that thing. Like, really enjoy this thing, and you will not feel like if something new comes in. Okay, ChatGPT was there. Now people are talking about LLM models in the textual world, right? So start doing a Google, like, what are the LLM models? That's it. And second day, you will automatically start reading further about it. Don't say that I want to master it today. Take your time. Right. So I think that will be it.
Yeah. One last question. I also interview people, right? So when I ask, why do you want to apply for this job? One answer that I get is, I'm very passionate about this. Somehow I feel that this word passion is very loosely used, or probably it is kind of overrated. So what is your take on this? For a subject like data science and data domain, I'm asked, this came to my mind because you spoke about being interested. Being interested is enthusiastic about it. Being interested about it, being curious about it is really good. But when somebody says they're actually passionate about data, does that help in the recruitment process, or how does that impact?
I would say if these kinds of statement comes, right, it's a 50% chance, to be very honest and brutal. Like, sometimes people are just saying for the sake of it, and sometimes they really mean it. To filter out that thing, what I do is, if someone is really passionate and they are very excited about it, if you say something, and then your action should be right behind it, right? So how do you justify that? Let's say if I have applied at Zscaler, right? And I am saying to the panelists, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, they'll say, okay, then what are the main products that you want to work on improvement? And then you don't know the answer of it. That's a kind of an awkward situation, right? So it's okay. It's good to be passionate. There's nothing wrong about it, expressing it. And again, see, that's a word that maybe, at that time, heat of the moment, you can't think of anything else, and they said it. Fine. But have you done your homework to justify or back up that statement? If you have done that, right? If you know about the company, their product, and how can you be then add on, right? Add a statement in the end that, I have seen that this is your product, and I have few ideas about to improve that product. So maybe they have already incorporated it. That's okay. But that shows that you are interested. So your statement is justifiable. Then I'm okay with that. So if you don't answer it, then then it might not be a great sign. Right?
Yeah, so passion should be shown.
Sure. Yeah, you have to
Not
prove
just
it.
spoken about
Yeah,
it. Yeah, I
exactly.
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Great, Jayant. It was a great discussion with you. Lots of insights, much more than the top trends and technologies. I think.
Correct. I think, yeah.
Thanks for so openly sharing your experiences, sharing your views and opinions. I'm sure this is going to, I think, bring clarity among a lot of people who are aspiring to get into this field. Some of the takeaways for me, and for a lot of other people also, is that data science is not restricted to people from computer sciences. There is value for people who come with domain knowledge.
Yes.
That is one major takeaway. Also, not get carried away by too much jargon that goes on these days. If you look at a tech magazine, there is like half the tech magazine is covered with AI ML information. But then start from the basics, follow a structured path, and then gradually keep building your skills. And then data science is a very accommodating field. There is space for everybody. Yes. And I don't think data science is a trend that is going to go away. This is definitely here to stay. The technologies that are involved, like you also mentioned about this whole data science being a stack, like a full stack and not one technology, right? So the technologies in the stack might change, but data science as a domain is here to stay. That gives us a lot of hope, gives the aspirants a lot of hope of being able to build a great future. At Odin School, we have so much belief in this that we started off with data science as a flagship program. Now we have also introduced full stack Java, but then data science is something that we really root for. And the kind of inputs we get from the industry also kind of cements that fact. So thank you very much for giving us your time. Looking forward to more conversations with you. Thank you very much. And it was great interacting with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone, for attending today's discussion. I'm sure all of you had a lot of takeaways, a lot of clarity, and we'll keep coming back with these thoughts, with these kind of discussions a few times a month. And please attend them. And I hope that we are able to give you more clarity about this entire space of data sciences. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. Have a good weekend too. Bye-bye.